to the yes, okay? Whatever you do, don't let anyone tell you need a 5-week retightening, because that same person is going to tell you to see a dermatologist when they have no explanation. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. You are with Tanisha Ali of Tanisha's Locks Beauty Tips and Potpourri, also known as the I Am Melanin brand. I Am Melanin Magic, that is, and so are you. And you can get to that website by going to IamMelaninMagic.com. Now, today we're talking about 10 things that I am often asked questions about that I decided to make a video regarding. Sister Locks, this video can also go to answer some of the questions that you might have if you happen to have microlocks as well. But there are some very basic things that constantly come up for people that are newcomers, people that are on the fence thinking about sister locks, or people who have had sister locks for a while. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. By the way, that lock channel coupon that has always been active on this site, LOCCHANNEL, it is still active. Somebody, 7 of you, somebody in particular over the last 2 days sent me 3 emails about that. That particular coupon that I gave subscribers and loyal supporters of this channel a while ago is almost always active unless and until you are using another discount code or there is another promotion that is running. That coupon is to serve my loyal advocates and people who love the I Am Melanin Magic brand, people who love this channel, who support the channel, who show their gratitude with their thumbs up, their likes and their shares, almost always. If it is not, try it again, but keep that coupon logged in your mind. It's always going to be there for a 20% discount, with the exception of a few select times that you may try it, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and dig in. The first question that I have been asked a lot, and a question that has evolved over time from when I used to do my first videos, is how much do sister locks cost? Y'all already know that topic has changed. That topic has evolved, and so has the answer to it. Now, when I got my sister locks installed 14 years ago, I paid $450 for the brunt of my hair, and then I paid $50 for each additional inch. So that's changed. People today are paying as much as $3,000 for an install. I hope they're not paying that much. Most of what I've come across is people in the $1,000 to $1,500 to $1,800 range. But it is not unheard of for you to pay $2,000, $2,200, $2,500, $2,800, and $3,000. Okay, so that is the install cost, or the cost to establish your sister locks. Depending upon how much hair you have, how dense it is or not, you could be sitting anywhere from 20, 30, or 40 hours. Also depending on the expertise of the individual and the length of your hair. Now, this does not include the money that the retightnings will cost you. The last highest quote I've heard, y'all, whoo, and this just makes me like, I don't know, I'm going into anaphylactic shock. This is crazy. I've heard as much as $500 every 4 to 6 weeks. That's insane. Please let me know if you pay that and where you live. Please let me know if you're paying anything similar to that. That's a lot of money. Woo! The second question that I'm asked oftentimes is, can I get sister locks or microlocks if I have relaxed hair? Yes and no. Yes, you can. Yes, it can be done by a skilled loctician, someone who really knows what they're doing and someone who has a lot of patience. Is that hair going to mature differently? Yes. Is it going to look differently? Would you be better off long term? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how much of a stickler you are for certain things, how much obsession you have over how your locks are going to mature during those years before they compress. Now, here's the kind of iffy thing that you're going to want to consider. First and foremost, if you have relaxed ends, your average loctician is going to tell you no, okay, which is not true. Also, if you have relaxed ends, your average loctician is going to suggest that she leave those ends out and only lock or interlock the part of your hair that is, new growth or more coarse or not as relaxed. Don't do that. Don't leave out of there with your ends out. Don't leave out of there with half of your hair interlocked. Even if you don't have a relaxer, never allow someone to leave out inches of your hair for so many reasons. That hair is going to lock in any way it wants. It's going to lock in a free-formed way. It's going to be difficult for you to control, harness, and capture that hair in a way that doesn't stress the roots of your hair when it's time for a retightening. So you really want to be mindful of that. The other thing is, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look as good. Now, if you have a lot of length, that's something you may want to consider. But like I said, get someone who really knows what they're doing and not someone who's going to tell you, A, that you can't do it, and B, that they need to leave your ends open. No. The next question is, what makes SISTERLOCKS different, or in what way are SISTERLOCKS and Microlocks different? The main way that they are different, I'm going to say, is not so much in the way they look, because everybody's hair matures, compresses, and goes through the locking process differently. And everybody's hair, as a result of that, is going to reflect on their head differently, depending upon any number of factors. Even with Microlocks, the way they are started, whether they are started with braids, whether they are started with twist, or any other way, there's so many ways that the hair can mature. So don't so much go by that, although if you happen to have SISTERLOCKS, they will be smaller, and because of the interlocking method, they will sometimes be more flatter and less cylindrical, depending upon how your Microlocks are started. But generally speaking, with the SISTERLOCKS, if you have the right loctician, you can count on a particular type of grid that is the hallmark branded SISTERLOCKS grid. And when I say branded, I don't mean proprietary in so much as I mean it is part of how we identify the brand. A certain part, including that center part, and everything else must line up. So that's one of the ways. Another way is that you have to have a certified loctician to do the install. She is SISTERLOCKS certified. Another thing is that the lock size typically is smaller, although you will find more people today having the medium to larger size lock installed versus the tiny ones, because the tiny ones tend to break easier over time as you go through some of these at-risk rituals you hear me talk about here on the channel all the time. That's going to be important. There used to be a lot more rigidity with regard to some differences. For example, the price would be higher, the time that it takes to install, your retightening schedule. Those things are sort of lining up more and more, especially with regard to the price, regardless. With the Microlocks, you're not going to have that grid. You're not going to have to follow a preset list of rituals or habits or procedures or things that are typically associated with the brand. Although, for example, braiding and banding may be recommended, it is not associated with Microlocks necessarily. It may be something that is done, but it is something that is strongly pushed. For example, if you have SISTERLOCKS. Something else is oiling. If you have SISTERLOCKS, you'll find that you are discouraged against oiling and moisture on your hair, typically at all with the oil, with the moisture, especially in the early time. So those are just some of the basic differences between the two. You'll find they're not all that different. The most obvious thing is going to be the size. The next question that is often asked is, how often should I get a retie? How often you should get a retie is going to be between you and your loctician, but you need to heavily influence that schedule. You need to make sure that you are not simply lumped in and placed on a retightening schedule that has no regard for your individual hair's growth or your individual needs or your individual preferences. And when I say your individual needs, I'm talking about the needs of your hair. The other thing that I will always say about a retightening is you need to try to stretch out 8 weeks or more. I always did that. I never paid the price for it. I was at 12 weeks probably for the last several years, very easily. Okay, between 11 and a half and 12 weeks, did that routinely, and it helped my hair. For those women that I have studied quite a bit, and for all those women that I have spoke to, and the ones that I will share stories from, and this, what you get when you sign up for the individual hair consult, and also in the ebook, I discuss it. Those women are having trials and tribulations, and you will have trials and tribulations as well if you allow someone to put you on that kind of schedule beyond the first several retightening. So I would say, although there is not an exact time that I am going to tell you, my support is for anything over 11 weeks that you can maintain. Now, are there not certain things you're going to have to do in order to be able to go that length of time? Yes. Is it worth doing it? Heck yes. Hell to the yes, okay? Whatever you do, don't let anyone tell you need a 5-week retightening, because that same person is going to tell you to see a dermatologist when they have no explanation, or at least not one that makes sense as to why your hair is coming out. Can I dye my hair is the next question. Yes, you can. Should you do it? No. Are you going to want to stick with the same stale color? Likely not. Have I dyed my hair? Yes. How many times? Countless times. Have I paid for it? Yes. Did I use bleach? No. I would say, if anything, consider over-the-counter type stuff. Leave the bleach alone. Your locks are not going to withstand that long term. Be very mindful of doing that. Depending upon how often you do it, it can weaken your roots, but it's definitely going to weaken your tresses. And part of the loss of my ends over the years, my hair should technically be about 5 or 6 inches longer. Never have to worry about too many concerns up in this area over the course of my hair journey. But whenever I color my ends, I consistently lose my ends for quite some time. And so has it stopped me? No. I will do rinses from time to time. Oftentimes as well, the rinses, depending upon what I have used, tend to cause a little bit of unraveling, which then results in the release of dead hair, which is typically what a good deal of this is anyway. But it is something to be mindful of. If you really, really love color, I would say get your color before you get your locks. I would say to get it as light as you can handle it, and then continue with rinses as you go throughout your journey, because once you've lightened a few levels, your rinse is going to be so much more bright, and it's going to be a lot more vibrant. If you must get color during your journey, wait until after your locks have really settled. Some will say compressed. Make sure your hair is healthy. Make sure you have been using something else to supplement your nutritional requirements for your hair, and wash very carefully, and be very mindful of what your hair can take, and less is more. Let's talk about some very baseline installation concerns that are things you're going to want to be mindful of when you have your install. And this can be, I'm talking about when you have your SISTERLOCKS established. You may want to ask, does the price that you're paying for your install also include the follow-up visit? You're going to want to know, does your install and your retightening, your subsequent retightενings include a shampoo? You're going to want to know if you're going to get a starter kit. That is not something that is happening routinely anymore. When I was in the process a decade ago and more of getting installs and talking to people that were getting their establishments, getting a starter kit was fairly routine. You're going to want to also know about how long it will take, about how many days can it be split up. If you have children, you want to make arrangements for your children. Likely, unless it's being done in your home, It's not going to be a very convenient thing for you to have children sitting for. You want to know, can you bring a mirror? You don't want to see some of what is going on in your hair. You want to know, what is your pattern? You may also want to know, is that a time where you can have your hair oiled? These are just some basic questions. I have a video on this channel, if you do a search, where I go into depth about things that are SISTERLOCKS installation concerns. The same thing would apply to microlocks as well. Should I use oil is the next question. I would say yes, yes, and yes. I would also ask you to consider, did you use oil on your hair before you had SISTERLOCKS or microlocks? For most of you, the answer will be yes. Even if the answer is no, the sheer stress, battery, and trauma that your hair will incur with this style requires that you supplement and that you use some sort of oil to put back in your hair and to actually love in your hair and to give nutritional supplementation to your hair in a way that doing nothing is simply not going to do. You're going to have to counteract some of the things that happen when you get this type of style, and one of them is that when your hair is dry, it breaks. When your hair is dry and it's being stressed out and you're having to get retightenings, when your hair is dry and it's being stressed out and you're having to detangle, when your hair is dry and it's being stressed out, and the list is over 40 deep, that's something you want to be very, very mindful of. I talk about that in the ebook at length. Make sure you get it. It will be out in about another week. You can get it from the I Am Melanin Magic site. There's all kind of issues around everything that I'm talking about that will interest you if you are new in your journey, if you've been at it for a minute and you're experiencing problems, or if you are considering SISTERLOCKS. There's just so much you need to know before you go into this journey. You don't want to be naive. You want to be well informed. And oftentimes your locticians and even people who wear the locks aren't going to always be the ones to tell you everything that you need to know so that you can make an informed choice. Number 7 asks, can I do it myself? Can I learn how to do my own retightenings? Yes. Should you? Yes. Is it something you probably want to do on a long-term basis? If you're not someone who has always been servicing your own hair or who feels comfortable doing it, you're probably not. I wasn't either, but out of sheer necessity to protect your hair and out of sheer necessity to do your own retightening, should something happen where your loctician is not able to get to you and you don't have a backup, you need to know. It makes you less codependent. It makes you less of a dependent when you can do your own retightnings. Again, you may need to take over a part of your hair. You may need to do some troubleshooting with regard to thinning or losing locks. Whatever it is, God bless the child who's got his own, and God bless the child who does his own. Okay? That's the way I feel about it. Did I want to be doing it all the time? No, because with SISTERLOCKS, it's a trial. I'm doing it now all the time, but I can do my own relocking or reknotting in under 2 hours when I want to. So that's a whole different ball game. I don't even feel like a do-it-yourselfer. I just know I've been freed in some sort of way. On to the next question. The next question is how to find a good loctician or things related to loctician concerns. The first thing I'm going to tell you is always have a backup. You need to have a backup for the very person that you depend on for one of the most important things that you're going to need to be able to, make time for and make space for, and that is your retightening. You'll be bombarded with a lot of different reasons why you're going to wish you had a backup. Okay, things happen to locticians. People fall out with their locticians. Your loctician may do your hair in a way that hurts. This is very common. Your loctician may be disregardful and dismissive. Your loctician may move. You may not be able to work around her schedule. You may miss an appointment and she may charge you fees and you may be upset. There are so many reasons why you need to have a backup loctician. There is a list of over, maybe 15 to 20 things you need to be mindful of regarding your loctician. Get my ebook because I go into depth, because this person Unlike the retightnings, which are public enemy number one, this individual is public enemy number one if you don't have a good one. And I really mean that. The quality of your loctician, the quality of her communication and feedback, the quality of her receptivity, the quality of her deference to what it is you feel you know best regarding your hair, the quality of her skill, and so many things is important to you. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this, so there are many things you need to be concerned about regarding your loctician. And now, number 9. Can I take my locks down? Yes, you can take your sister locks down. Many people take them down. Would you want to take them down? Likely not. Do I know more people who have cut them off rather than take them down? Yes, I can tell you for a fact, taking out one lock for me one time, many years ago, feels like almost eons ago, took me 3 hours for one lock. And I have close to 600 locks. So, can you take them out? Yes. Would you lose a lot of hair? Yes. Would you lose all of the stuff that's caught up in the locks that actually help them lock? Yes. Would you lose all of the dead hair? Yes. Would your hair be in the best shape possible when you took them out? No. Could you nurse it back to health? Yes. If you had 6 months to a year to take them out, could you? Most certainly. So you can take them out, although most people would take the shortcut and just have them cut out. Okay, last but not least, number 10, what is marrying and or combining locks? Marrying and or combining locks is the process by which your loctician will take 2 locks, sometimes even more over time, and combine them and bring them together to provide more support and more integrity to a lock that may not be able to stand on its own anymore. Is this something you want to know about? Yes. Is this something you want your loctician to apprise you of? Yes. What happens when you find out your locks have been married against your permission? You have a problem there. Why are locks married as well sometimes? To hide breakage, sometimes, or thinning. Sometimes locks are married because you could be dealing with a loctician who simply does not want to do all of your locks. It's become too time consuming. And so if she could marry your locks, she will go ahead and marry them. Some locticians deceptively practice this. Are there dangers in marrying locks? There can be. I spoke to a sister more recently with dissecting cellulitis, and this is not a common occurrence, I would venture to say, but it does happen to people. And the locks that were married formed tunnels beneath this tissue of her scalp, and it was a nightmare. And it continues to be a nightmare 57 steroid injections later, plus 4 years. Not only that, when your locks are married, it is a sign that something is going on that is undesirable. You need to get to the bottom of it. Marrying a lock is not always the best alternative. I talk in depth about this in my ebook. I also talk about it during the consults. So that is going to conclude what I wanted to say today. If you have more questions, and you're in this journey and you're experiencing some type of unrest or some type of difficulty or something that is causing you to run up against a roadblock and you're not sure what to do about your sister lock journey, you are trying to hopefully prolong the journey for as long as you can. You're trying to avoid hair loss and thinning. Go to IamMelaninMagic.com, book a consult, complete a questionnaire that gives a very in-depth gives me the ability to do an in-depth analysis of what is going on with your hair with attached pictures. Sit down, participate in the educational component of how to prolong your SISTERLOCKS or Microlocks journey, how to get the most out of your journey, what things you need to be mindful of. Get your 5 pillars of hair loss, get your designate process that will help you to deal with thinning if you're already experiencing thinning. Get your mini ebook, get your sample serum, and be on your way to getting educated. I appreciate all of you. I love you. If you have not purchased my Manifesting Your Masterpiece book, you can get that on Amazon.com. It's by Tanisha Ali, and it's called Manifesting Your Masterpiece. You can also get it on Barnes & Noble. It is a book to help you to gain clarity, up-level your life, clear and heal energetic blockages so that you can manifest the glory of God that is you. You can also meet me over on Butterfly Transformations, which is my spiritual channel. I will see you next time. Thank you again for your lovely attention. Thank all of you for your wonderful support. Much love, much love, much love.